Okay guys, welcome to another GA flying video. Today I will show you a Miltech Mission Hub mission. This one was also created by me and it's the first mission with a plane. Okay, but before we start, I wanted to warn you there will be some spoilers for the mission. The mission does include some story element and some surprises. So if you want to download and run the mission, I would recommend to stop watching, okay, and play the mission. But then obviously you can watch it later. I will talk about the design of the mission, my future plans, stuff that I maybe want to improve in the next versions of this one. So maybe let's some basic info about this mission. It's a humanitarian aid mission placed in a fictional conflict. You can fly it with every plane, but it was tested with the Transal that we are looking at now. In order for the plane to be able to succeed, it pretty much needs two things. It needs to be very fast, so around 280 knots indicated airspeed, I guess. And it also needs to be able to start with everything on, right? Because the mission starts on the runway, like you can see, with the engines on, and there are some planes that back out when you do it, right? So only those two things. And besides that, you can use it with everything, maybe with some small airliners, maybe some retro airliners, like from Just Flight. It's not an easy mission. There is a time limit and some other limits that you will see. It does require some hand flying, so it's good if you know the plane already. And I guess this is it when it comes to the introduction. I just wanted to say that I like the Miltech Hub better and better, pretty much. It's just great to have a narrative tool, finally, in MSFS, where everybody can tell a story, and it's easy to learn and not time-consuming to do. The link to the mission will be in the description of this video, so you can download it right away. And with this, I think we can start, and let's see if I will be able to succeed here. I hope it will be possible. Let me just sit a little bit more comfortable. I will make it a little bit louder for the start, because I think the plane has great starting sounds. So be prepared for this, okay? Making it louder, and as you can see we have a time limit. Let me open the description for you, and we will just start right away because we don't have much time. The last part of the description. Okay. It's around 110 rotation speed, right? So we are rotating right away. Gear up. Outside view. Up, and let's just turn to the objective. Just disable this one, and I will lower the volume, okay, so you can hear me. So it's a war zone, like you could read, and we will be starting evacuation efforts as soon as we reach the destination. This is my most complex mission, I guess, to date, so let's hope that everything will work out. It is on Flight SimTO for 1 day, I guess, or almost 2 days, so some people had the opportunity to check it. For now, no bug reports, so if you do find anything, please just let me know. Okay. And we have the clearance to go up to 5,000 feet. That was in the description, right? So let's just use the autopilot for it. Let me just trim it down so it's stable. and I will use the autopilot. So here, here, and here, heading select. Okay, let's just control if everything is fine. It should even out. Yeah, works pretty well. Okay, so altitude select 100 feet is not high enough for us, right? So let's go to 4,000 feet. Okay, I'll select enter, and the plane will climb on its own. Okay, so I'm already working like on a second part of this mission, but it's still like in the design phase, I guess. So this is like a fictional story, and like the country is also fictional. So just like for immersion reasons, I would recommend to not use GPS, not use any like virtual maps, right? Because it will like show you where it really is, and this is not the point. Here you have the marker for the objective, and this should be enough in this mission. Okay, and you can see the airplane is climbing. You can turn off the landing lights. Okay, and we don't have much time. If we will be too late, the refugees will be like forcefully removed from the airport, right? Because before the front line comes nearer, and this is also like a failure scenario in this one. So this scenario does include, well, more than one failure scenario. So it seems like we have some time to go. So let me maybe also talk about the plane, because I'm sure like we have also people joining that are interested in the plane, and not necessarily only in the mission, right? So before, when I was showcasing it in the prior video, let me just, because we are close to the limit, right? Okay. Maybe let's talk about this one. So there are two not exceed speeds here, and one place in the manual says that never exceed speed is 280, and another one that it's 310 or 20, right? So we also have two limits here. So for today, I will try to keep the orange one, the lower one, but if there will be like a special situation, an emergency, I'm ready to also like push it, right? But we will see. So other stuff that I learned about this plane is that according, because I said that depending like on the manual and depending on the YouTuber that was like using real manuals for it, there are different information according to what like of those fuel pumps should be used. So according to the manual for this plane, all of them should be used at once. So this is also something that I will do. Okay. So we are starting to see some hilly terrain, right? So we will need to see if the terrain will be a problem. We do have the radar, but it's only a weather radar. Oops, it's like operated here. As far as I know, no terrain radar is here. Yeah. But still, let's use it. Okay, so we are at the limit. But you can see the engines are not in the red, right? I mean, it depends on what red we are talking about here. I can lower the power a little bit. Yeah. Let me see if all of the systems work. So I have tested it before, and it seems that the Transal, right, has no problem with like starting with everything on the runway, which I'm normally not using. I do prefer like cold and dark, But in this specific situation, as there is like an urgency in this specific mission, and the mission is like pretty long even without it, I decided to like start with everything on. For one of the prior videos, I got a comment that like, maybe I don't know how to start Cold and Dark, right? So just so you know, there is also like a second video in the Transal on my channel, and there is everything explained with Cold and Dark, right? So if you prefer Cold and Dark, you can also watch the prior one. Okay. We can go to outside view. On the Miltech Discord, I was talking to another like mission creator, one of the users, and he kind of figured out how to make the Mission Hub recognize like inputs, so those LVARs, right? So that the Mission Hub can recognize when you use one of the functions in the plane. And he sent me like a beta version of his mission that will recognize when the ramp is lowered, for example, in this specific plane. So if this would really work, this would be great, because you could pretty much use everything you want in the mission, right? So for example, here we have flares, right? And the mission could recognize if you are launching flares or not. And then you could like simulate a missile attack on the plane, for example. Because as for now, the Mission Hub mostly recognizes like custom stuff about the MH60, because it was made by the same people, right? Okay, so we can see more and more mountains before us. Okay, no bad weather. So I was talking about it before, but like the Mission Hub also allows you to set the weather, but only in a very general way, right? Month, day, time of the day, and the general weather type. So this is like few clouds in this case. Let me turn on the lights. Okay. Okay, everything seems fine. We might make it, but suddenly, radio call. The rebels have set up anti-air defenses around the area. Stay below 2,500 feet. Okay? And also our co-pilot talks to us. So we need to go down quickly to be below this radar altitude, right? I mean, in this case, barrow altitude. We don't have much time. Okay, air brakes. And we are down below the limit. As I said, this mission is the first mission that has real failure scenarios, right? So if you don't do what it wants you to do, it's possible to fail the mission. Okay, and we also had, for a moment, information from our co-pilot that he was able to map a safe route around the mountains that would allow us to stay below 2,500 feet. Okay, and we see it here with the markers, right? Actually, the Transal also has like a navigator on board, so normally it would be the navigator saying it, but when designing it, I wanted to be also useful like for other planes, and most of them don't have navigators, right? So just for role-playing purposes, I did make it the co-pilot. Okay. Let me just make sure we are trimmed. And now you will need to observe our altitude all of the time. And what the co-pilot also said, like for a moment, was that if we will follow this path that was visible on the map, it might not be enough time, right? So we might have to cut some corners, go over some mountains and risk it. And this is exactly what we will be doing. Okay. It's a really fast airplane. I wasn't even realizing, like, when flying it before, that it has some like crazy performance. I guess it needs to, like, for combat situations. Okay, let me just stabilize it if I can. Okay, let's not go too high. Yeah, normally it's not a problem, but I want it to be totally stable to show you the outside view, right? And I can give you like higher volume so you can listen to the engines. Okay, enough so we don't crash. Okay, and I see we are going down. Okay, so let's move up so we can see some more, and then we will look for a way through the mountains. Okay, so we are short on time, so let's try a shortcut here. Let's hope we will not regret this one, but it seems like those mountains should be safe. That's saying I have designed it and I'm also not sure, right? Because all of the mountains look the same, so it's hard to say which ones of those will be above 2,500. Okay, some more lights. We also have the flares, so let's just enable the system if I can from here. Just a second, I don't want to crash. Okay. And it seems like we can do a shortcut here. I hope so. Okay, let's make sure we use as much power as is safe, because the time limit is really like, well, adjusted that it's not easy to reach it without risking anything. I mean, reach it in time, right? Okay, so, okay. I think this one is not this one. Yeah. Okay. So we are prepared for any attacks, but still, would be better to not get shot at. Okay, let's push it a little bit more. And we can see mountains ahead. Some fog, but luckily, well, some haze, I guess. But luckily the clouds are not low. So like the clouds are pretty random. I had runs where they were like touching the hills, right? And then it was really risky because you never knew what is like in front of you. Okay, so we are almost at 2000. So this means that probably the next hill will be too high and we would go over 2500. So it seems like we will need to move to the right and waste some time. There might be like some other valleys that I have not discovered and that might enable you to do it even in a shorter time, but you are like free to risk it. If you won't be able to go out of the valley in time, then you will have a problem. Actually, this one looks promising. I will try it with this one. Maybe. Okay, so we are over speeding, at least when looking at the orange, right, limit. So guys, if you know what the difference between those two limits is, because they are both called like never exceed speed, then let me know. I also want to learn. Okay, 2100. Okay. Okay, so we will go like this one. Make sure that we don't clip anything with the wing. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, and now here. Okay, and we are still below 2500. And as I said, the mission is not bluffing, right? If you go over it, something will happen. You can be pretty creative with like finding the way through those mountains. So should I take the safe way to the right, or should I try it with the left? I'm not sure. Do I chicken out? Or will I like look for a safe passage? I guess I chicken out. So let's hope it will not take too long. Can I see anything on the left? Don't think so. Okay, we'll use the safe way. I think like I found a valley the last time, but now I'm not sure anymore, so let's just go there. Yeah, I'm just wondering what other planes could fit here, because like obviously regional jets, especially like the retro ones, would make it, like the needed speed and also the agility, but I'm not sure if they were ever taking part in like evacuation efforts or not. I mean, for sure there is like a fictional livery for them. Okay, 2200. Okay, let's add some power. So we still have some left. Yeah, we are pushing it, but like we want to save some lives today. I think I found a more direct route last time. Strange. Okay. Okay, let's go down because we are too high. Let's not clip any trees with our wing. Okay. And let's move down. I think that the real place is Laos, I think, where we are flying, but I'm not sure because like the country borders were not marked on the aviation map that I was using, right? Okay, so can we go over the hill? I think we can. Not too much. This is why like hand flying is recommended, because then you can do some very fast adjustments. Yeah, so as with all of my like Mission Hub missions, this doesn't need to be like totally realistic flying like the one with the police. It's like not something that police helicopter do most of the time, but it's more like the theme with like an action movie vibe, I guess. Although I'm sure that like humanitarian aid missions were doing risky stuff in the past. Oi, oi, oi. Do we have to go around? Because this peak might be too high. I'm not sure. We might go over the limit here. Will we? Or will we not? Okay. Oh. We went over for a second, but there is some slight tolerance to what you can do. It's supposed to be realistic, so it's not just triggering right away when it's exactly 2500. Okay, and we do have like a mountain pass marked here by the co-pilot, so the navigator in this case. Okay, so we are overspeeding once again. Let me just take away air brakes. Okay, let's go down with the speeds. The airbags are like really effective in this one. So effective you can like hurt yourself because you're losing speed very fast. Okay. Now let's prepare to go through the pass. Okay, we can go up a little bit. Yes, I was watching some videos about like the Transal, and like this Sarajevo approach is very interesting when you like go steep down to the airport, so that you will not be in like anti-aircraft range for long, right? We are pretty much going down like 20 degrees with the air brakes on and doing like a very short field landing. So we might try that, or like one of the missions might require it, but I'm still not sure because, as I said, I want to make it also available for other airplanes, right? Okay, so this valley looks sketchy, although we will have to trust our navigator here. That saying, he did warn us in the message that like the maps are very imprecise. Okay, let's do the outside view. Some nice terrain here. Okay. The mountain pass doesn't look really safe, I guess. Yeah, but there is no better one, so let's take this one. And let's increase the speed as much as we can, so we will be the shortest time possible so high. We don't have much time left, so there is like no time to find another way. Okay, 2000. $2,100. Okay. It's always a problem with those like very long wings, that if you are close to the trees and are turning, they might clip the trees, right? Oops, we do have a very short... Oh, you can see. Not much was needed to trigger the warning. But luckily, it seems like the valley is going down. Just don't clip anything. Okay, and we can see the warning was disabled. Let's move up a little bit, because now we have some room, and we can see the marker pointing us into the right direction. Almost like the Mach loop, right? And let's go up a little bit. I'm stressed, and it was me who designed that one, so I should be comfortable with this. And I just love these views when you are exiting like the mountains here and can see those lowlands. Okay, so we are going over speed brakes. Okay, too much speed brake. Why? Oh, okay. They were just taking long to retract. Okay, 20 miles. Let's not crash now. Okay, look outside. Okay. And we are on track. Really like those like dramatic clouds here. Okay, change the view so I see what I'm doing. Can do some outside view. And those rice fields are really nice. I mean, it's not like any special place, right, that would be custom corrected by Asobo, but it still looks great. And this is also something that I like about 2024, like that because the trees are so interesting, so different, right? Oops, exotic flying really is like special, right? It looks different than in other places. I do have some like strange stutters. I hope I won't crash. I mean, MSFS won't crash. Okay. And we can see we are outside of the area where this like rebel anti-air defense is. Okay, so we still have to land, and it's still 14 miles out. Yeah, so like in this plane, the LSS and like frame generation is not messing anything up, right? And because of those analog like instruments, right? So you pretty much don't notice it. That's saying if you would use like radio navigation here, then I would see it, right? Because even like the heading back moving is doing it. Yeah, I really like the terrain here. It's pretty original, and like the color of the earth, right, of the ground, also like looks very exotic. So let's hope we can like do a safe landing in time. There are some hills, so let's get some altitude. We can brake very quickly, so we don't really need to slow down. Yeah, the more I fly this Transhal, the more I like it. And normally I wouldn't expect liking it, because like, as I said many times, I do prefer like civilian aircraft, not like owned by institutions and like governments and militaries. But with the Mission Hub, you can really use them like in their element, I guess, right? So it's suddenly making a lot of fun. You see we are close, so let me just throttle down. Landing lights. Loop, loop. Okay. So the manual also recommends to turn off bleeding when landing, probably to have like more power for a sudden rejected landing, right? So go around. Okay, air brakes. Okay, flaps. Okay, and air brakes now. Okay, some more air brakes. We don't have much time, so we just need to land now. And landing gear. Okay, 5 green, so we are ready. Not much time to evacuate. Okay, now DLSS is like making it harder, but maybe it's just the illumination of those instruments. So it's hard to see the exact numbers. Okay, air brakes up. Let's not crash on the last final approach. Okay, reversers, air brakes. It's a very short field plane, sorry. Just what you get when you want to show people the outside view. Okay. And we are done. Okay, so let's now take on those people. Oops. Let me make sure I can turn here. I do have a problem with the pedals because the left pedal is not having like its full range. Not sure what is happening there, but now let's look out for those refugees and bring them on board as fast as possible. Okay, and here we have the message, right? We did it in time, but they kind of stormed in our direction already, right? So it will not be safe to like move through them. So you can see the panicked refugees are leaving the secure airport area and storming the plane. In the distance, gunfire echoes. To be continued. Okay? And this is pretty much how it ends. Like in my imagination, you can see those refugees here trying to get on board. Like you can see in the news, like almost every time when there is like an urgent evacuation. And we will see how this finishes in the next parts. Okay? So thank you very much for watching. I do recommend to try out the mission, obviously. And in the near future, I will also probably upload the second part. So you will see how this situation continues here. Okay? So thanks again, and see you in future videos. Bye-bye.